This episode of Performance Anxiety Side Project features Karine Delage from Karyzma Agency. We talk about the importance of PR in an artist's life. She talks about how she got started at the age of 8 interviewing the Montreal Expos, covering the Grammys, the MTV Music Awards, the Billboard Music Awards by age 13, and having Destiny's Child sing to her over the phone. She discusses the importance of branding, getting the right kind of exposure, and how to keep a client's expectations realistic. She shares some great real-world stories and experiences from over 20 years in the business. Please enjoy this episode of Performance Anxiety Side Projects with Karine Delage.
Hey everyone, it's Karine Delage from Karyzma Agency. You guys are listening to Performance Anxiety Podcast. Oh yeah, I'm good.
Is it Karen or is it Karine, or how do I pronounce your first name correctly?
Well, everyone pretty much says everything, so I give up. But it's Karine.
Karine. Is that close enough?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I was trying to do some research on you, and since you're more behind the scenes than your clients, it's not always the easiest thing to do. But I did find out that you're a Habs fan.
I am. I love my Montreal Canadiens. And especially, well, because I'm from Montreal, so obviously.
Yeah.
And even if I live in Toronto now, I would not cheer for the Leafs. No disrespect. Unless they go in the playoffs. I'm still a Habs girl. It's like a religion in Montreal.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've heard that. And I'm new to hockey. I didn't grow up as a hockey fan. Mainly, I guess one of the main reasons is because I lived in New Jersey at the time, and the Devils were terrible when I grew up.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get into it. But I moved around a lot, and I live in the DC area now. And so over the past few years, I've been watching the Caps, and I really like them. And
oh yeah.
You think they have a chance to repeat the Stanley Cup this year?
I don't know about that. Hopefully.
They're not. I mean, they're not playing. They're playing better than they were. They were in a bit of a slump there for a little while, but they got Wilson back.
Were.
Yeah,
they're getting better now.
Yeah, they got Wilson back, and Ovi's just. I'm telling you, the guy's ageless. I don't know how he's scoring as much as he's
amazing.
I swear, if you
no, he's super good.
If you ever,
it would be a nice thing for them to get it twice. I mean, especially for Ovi, he's so talented and he's so deserving.
Oh yeah, then that was the Stanley Cup win for years was the one thing that everybody was complaining about. He's got a Hall of Fame career if he can win a cup, and everybody had said his time had passed him by. And last year,
for sure,
it was amazing. So if you ever get Ovi as a client, you gotta let me know so I can get him on the show.
I will.
So you started in I guess was it journalism in Quebec at the age of 8?
Right.
You were
Correct.
8?
I was 8 years old. I started when I was 8. I decided to call the artist union back home and just start doing interviews with talent. So in between 8 and 13, I did over 200 interviews.
Oh my gosh.
And then one of the biggest magazines in Quebec, which is Casual Magazine, hired me at 13 for a whole year to have my own column, my page. So I was doing interview with talent.
How is that? How do they do that? How's that legal?
It's legal if your parents are okay with it.
Man, 8 to 13, and you already accomplished more than I have at 45. Jeez.
Well, I'm 37 now, so I've been in the industry for, it will be 30 years next year, which is insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Oh
and the thing too is that people tend to forget that, okay, let's be honest, a lot of people in the industry, their parents are in it, or they study, or something in those lines. And for me, my parents were not in it. My dad was working in construction. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I just decided to do that on my own.
Wow. So you didn't have any connection into the industry. You just took it upon yourself to break into it at the age of 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now I remember reading or hearing an interview, and one of your first interviews was some players for the Montreal Expos.
Yeah, a couple of my first interviews were, talent in Quebec, of course, but I did interviews with Larry Walker, Moises Alou, Dennis Martinez, Mike Lansing, met Gary Carter.
Oh, man.
But Moises Alou probably was one of the most interesting ones. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Mike Lansing too, and Larry Walker was amazing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But Moises Alou was 2 weeks before he broke his foot. I know it's a long time ago, so people might not remember.
Yes.
But his foot was literally like sideways.
Yes, that was disgusting. I remember watching that. Oh, that was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Now I'm getting the chills just thinking about it. Ugh. So you and I actually now have a connection, though, because the Expos became the Washington Nationals, my favorite baseball team.
They became, and they could have stayed in Montreal if the strike would have not happened in '94.
Yep.
Because especially like the Jeffrey Loria at that time pretty much sold all the big players instead of keeping them, thinking about losing a little bit of money that year.
Wasn't there an issue where they didn't even have TV rights in Montreal for the Expos towards the end of their existence?
Oh, I would not be surprised because people were not going anymore. People fully lost interest because all the stars were gone.
Yeah.
So they kind of lost interest on them. Like, we had so many good players that they went to be amazing players in the rest of the leagues, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we had Vladimir Guerrero, which now his son plays for the Jays.
Vlad was great.
Well, Larry Walker was amazing on his own.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then even Moises Alou went on to play his dad. Felipe was an amazing coach.
Yes. That whole family. They had Felipe, that Maddie. They had the whole Alou family. It was like baseball royalty.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's
100%.
It's amazing. So those were some of your first interviews with some pretty big names.
They were.
That's amazing.
I was like, at that point, I was probably 14 or 15. And then I started doing interviews in in the Habs side of things. I spoke with a lot of the old players like Denis Savard.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Like, I have blanks just because there's so many. But, and I got lucky enough that a couple of years ago, I did the launch for Jonathan Roy album in Canada. Like, first time he came out. That's Patrick Roy's son. Well, one of them.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's...
So,
man.
I pretty much, that's fast forward a lot just because we're talking sports. And that night that I was, not just the night, I was with Patrick the entire day, but my dad loved his hockey, and Patrick Roy was one of his idols.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
After Jacques Plante and all the older players, Patrick Roy was like a dynasty in Montreal.
Oh, yeah. I remember Patrick Roy, and I wasn't even a big hockey fan at the time. He was
that's the thing.
Just a huge name.
So I was with him all day and his son because we're pushing the album and this and this and this. And I called my dad and I put him on the phone with Patrick.
Oh, wow.
And I think I probably made my dad year or a couple of years.
Oh.
Bonus points on my side. But it's funny because they were talking about the playoff and they were talking about the new goalie for Montreal. At that point, I think it was Alak.
Okay.
Back in a while ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, that's on the sports side of thing. And I always had an interest with sports. And I used to, when I was a kid, I used to compete in swimming.
Okay.
And I used to be the geek person that was taping the Olympics and watching the race. That was my goal when I was a kid.
The Olympics, okay.
I wanted to go to the Olympics, yeah. As a side joke, which was funny, just because we were talking about baseball. I don't know if you remember, and they still have it, but the point card that you fill up, like first base, second base.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For third base and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I used to have a stack of those because I used to watch. Baseball was like this thing with my dad. Like, I was on the radio for the first time with the Expos host on TSN. On the French network. And then I used to go watch baseball. Like, they used to give me tickets because I was like the little girl in the industry.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're like
literally
10.
And I used to go like with my dad all the time. It was this thing, like this bond with my dad.
Yeah.
Like everything else, but this was like our thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, but I actually cried that last game they played. I'm not going to lie here.
Well,
it was emotional, and I don't think it's only me. A lot of people, I mean, people do want the Expos back, so.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, the way baseball is going, if they may be able to expand again. So
hopefully. That would be dope.
I would love to see the Expos back, though. You don't take away my Nats, but having the Expos back would be really cool.
A lot of people want them back. A lot.
Well, that's good news. And if they can keep the groundswell up, they may be able to eventually convince the MLB to bring a team back up there. It took like, what is it, 50 years, almost 50 years to get a team back in Washington, D.C. So. Yeah.
But the thing, too, is that we need a new stadium because the Olympic Stadium you can't.
Yeah.
Because of you can't play there. But, I mean, hopefully they would come back. But so.
If you look at what the NFL's done, they've taken some cruddy old stadiums and stuck the teams in LA in them. So,
that's true.
So
that is true.
They may be able to do the same with a baseball team.
Oh my God, that is completely true. But yeah, like after that whole sport, so that's when I pretty much developed my love even more for sports. But my first international interview was actually 19 years ago, or 20 years ago, with 98 Degrees. And It's funny because up to these days, Jeff is still a good friend, and I work with Jeff from 98 Degrees.
Oh, okay. Wow. Man, that's really cool. See, and that's kind of what I like about the show that I'm doing with you right now, is that I've been able to actually create some friendships with some of the people that I've interviewed, and it's amazing to me that I'm, on every couple weeks or so, I'll get a message or an email from somebody whose music I've been listening to for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. That's one of the great perks about doing this, I guess.
Well, it is because of them. Well, not because of them, but when I turned 18, or no, that's not true, 20. I was starting to cover the Billboard Music Award, and I did that for like 6 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
And I was just literally going there and doing interviews, and I made friends with, which is funny because, 98 Degrees was there, so obviously.
Yeah.
They introduced me to people. But then Anthony Hamilton, who's a good friend, his manager, and again, that's like a long time ago, but people, because when they see you grow and they see that you're not trying to cut corners and you're actually working hard, they'll try to help you even more. Like, to go back to Anthony introduced me, him and his manager introduced me to Usher,
oh, wow,
to Neo, to a bunch of people. And then, because I did, when I was there, I was the Canadian girl that everyone's like loving because I'm from Canada.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. And you're the youngest person there.
99. Exactly.
And, I think the other thing is if somebody has a good experience when they're having an interview, they're more likely to remember it and more likely to help you out and want to talk with you again. Well,
that's the thing. Like, I did an interview by phone with Destiny Child the first time they came to Canada. And
wow.
They sang on the phone for me.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where that tape is. It's gone somewhere. But that's about, because, we all know, like, those tapes back in the days.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably long gone, but or they're somewhere at home. But I do have a video, the girls from Destiny Child talking about how they love Canada. And even I have little Bow Wow speaking to me in French when he was a child.
Really? Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And I have BB Mac singing for me. I have Joe that was singing for me. Cisco. All of that at the Billboard Music Awards. So that's why, like, I know. And that's why, like, all my connection. And people tend to forget how it's not by luck. Like, I work so hard for all those connections, basically.
That's grown into having more than just musicians and athletes. You deal with actors and all kinds of people. You have relations with brands now. So tell me a little bit about just PR in general. So let's say an actor would have he would have an agent, have some management, but he'll also have a publicist. So what is the difference? What are you doing for an actor that let's say an agent or their management wouldn't do?
Well, basically what we do, and people tend to forget how important PRs tend to be, especially for talent. I mean, brand is brand, but the brand itself, like the product, doesn't talk.
Right.
So we create its brand. But the only thing is, especially for talent, it's important for them to develop their own identity, to be able to have like coverage on TV and the newspaper, online, or everything, to be on the red carpet, getting their picture taken, to get out there. So the more we get exposure for them, it benefits them on a broader level to get bigger roles or anything.
Okay.
Also, same thing for a brand though, because if you have a new product and it's a really good product, but you don't get the word out, then nobody will know about it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I might know a podcast or two.
Yeah.
That might need a little bit of branding help.
But it's hard sometimes because, again, like there's some PR people out there, and well, that's more on the talent side, but they give like bad reputation to some PR. And because of that, there's a gray line, and people think that it's only partying and getting people on red carpets, which is not the case. Like, you can't, I mean, there's some exception that you'll grow and become successful in 24 hours. There is some exception. But in general, you're a talent, you're an athlete, singer, a brand, a new product, a designer, anything. You have to put work and effort. And I say that to people, you won't, unless miracles.
Right.
Which God knows we can do some of those sometimes.
Well,
sometimes I'm calling myself miracle workers, and people that would listen to this podcast and knows me would totally laugh at this. But we put miracles out there. But that being said, I always say it always takes at least 3 months to see an actual turnaround, because people need to start getting to know you, and then you build and build and build.
Right.
Not like day and night.
Yeah, it takes, like anything worthwhile, it takes a lot of hard work.
Exactly. And people forget that, especially like in the day and age of social media. Because people think that because it's on Instagram or anything, it's like instant.
Yeah.
So it's harder now. I mean, we used to have even more coverage in the past, but now it gets harder because of social media. Like, people tend to think it's like beneficial, which it is, if you use it properly. But then at the end of the day, it could hurt your brand or a talent, because the quality, it's like you always want to use like quality over quantity, and it's becoming like a lot of quantity these days. Yeah.
Now, are you finding that the talent is wanting things to be more immediate, their success to be more immediate, because of the social media aspect of PR now?
Well, see, what I could say about that is it depends. It depends where the person is in his life, in his mind, and in his work, and how the people how they perceive themselves. And the reason why I'm saying that is you can't, let's say you just started or you haven't had a TV show yet. Yes, you've been doing your craft for a long time, but you just book a major show, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't compare to yourself someone that's on fifth season of a certain TV show.
Right.
Because your visibility towards people in the media, even though your social media might be over 15,000 or whatnot, the visibility in the media is not there yet.
Okay. That makes
Because you might have a lot of followers, but it's hard to, because that actually happen often. Like, I'll have like a top A, B tier artist, and someone who's new will expect to have coverage on those big national TV shows, which I'm not saying it's not going to work. It will eventually, but you need to put the work in.
right.
So that's why like social media is good and bad in the sense that people see that so-and-so get an interview, example, with Young Hollywood. So-and-so got an article in Billboard, in Variety, or Vogue, or whatever.
Right.
Which is great. But the other person that sees that and wants that might not be directly at the same level yet.
Okay. How did you make the transition from a 13, 14-year-old journalist to public relations?
Right. Well, when the first thing I did back home in Montreal, probably 22 years ago. Wow, that sounds so. I was like trying to say in another way, but anyways, probably when I was 18, 19, 20, I did like this, pretty much when I was 20, 21, sorry. I did this, 24 hours fashion challenge with Finesse, the shampoo company.
Okay.
And so basically designer were mixed with stylists and photographers and stuff, and they had to create like a look and put it on the runway 24 hours later.
Oh, wow.
So I did like the media for them. And I was new, like I never done that before, but someone believed in me. And it went actually really well. Like and then that kind of started triggering, the other part that I wanted to see the other side of things. Especially when I was seeing like people on the red carpet and how they interact with people to have the artist talked about or whatever.
Okay.
And then after that, I moved to Toronto like 16 years ago. I started working at a little record label.
Okay.
And at the same time, I was also going to school in entertainment business.
Okay.
Which I never ended up finishing.
Oh.
But the point of what I'm saying is that I literally learned everything on my own.
Okay.
Nobody really teach me how to write. No, because I learned how to write a press release at a PR firm that I worked for 2 years, and that was working with a lot of talents back in the days.
Okay.
Like I learned everything on my own. Like I didn't, and see, but that's for some people. Some people are better at school, and some people will learn on their own faster because it's a passion for them.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, it was like not just a passion, but I really, really had potential, I guess, to be in that world.
Okay.
But that's how I started. And then I started working, 7 years ago, I worked for a big PR firm in Toronto that was just doing branding. Well, not branding, but working with brands. Okay. And I was the only one allowed to still do some work on my own on the French Quebec market.
Oh, really?
And that's really rare because if people don't know, when you do PR and you work for a PR firm, you're not allowed to have your own stuff going.
Okay.
Because it's conflict.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But because I had they knew my strength in the Quebec market and they needed me. So I was allowed. I had some free pass, basically. And then they let me go. When you're junior at a PR firm as well, you tend to, if someone make a mistake on the higher level, junior goes first.
Right.
Junior stays.
Low man on the totem pole.
But that's right. But that's pretty much in any industry.
Yeah.
But anyways, that kind of gave me a kick in the butt because I wanted to leave, and just start my own thing. But you all know when you have a 9 to 5, like you have insurance, this and this, you're not going to leave.
No, you got stability.
Even though you want to. Right. So, and going to like the non-stability.
Yeah.
Is really scary.
Yeah. I've
done
that myself.
See, but that's what I'm saying. So I think I cried for like maybe 5 minutes. And then I was good. Then I'm like, you know what? This is what I wanted. This is what I always wanted to do. That's it. So that's like 6 years ago. And yeah, I've been on my own.
And how difficult was it for you to start gaining clients? Was it something you were able to do immediately, or did it take a little bit of time?
See, but that's the thing, because I already had some.
Because of what you were doing on the side? Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And because of what I'm doing on the side. So I already had like 2 or 3. And then I just like started working really hard to get more.
And you've been working so hard that you've been named in the top 40 under 40 in your business.
Yeah, correct, for the past 2 years.
That's fantastic. Is there like a top 40 actually, over 40?
I don't know.
Because I want to go for that one.
Getting close.
I want to go for that one.
I'm getting close to the 40. Yeah, and actually we, which is funny, I got another award this year, with a client of mine, Canada Sound, and Canada Sound is like this album we did for the 150th anniversary of Canada.
Oh, really?
With a bunch of Canadian artists. So basically what it was, there was a website that people could, provide the sound that they like, their favorite Canadian sound, and artists were creating a song with those sounds.
That's really wild.
At one of the advertising awards in New York this past year, we won a silver right in front of Drake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Drake finished third, we finished first. This is hilarious because that's probably the only time in my life that I can say that I beat Drake on something. And shout out to Drake. Yeah.
Yeah, Drake, if you're listening, we still love you.
Oh, hell yeah. I love Drake.
Maybe we should send this to him, or I don't know. I have no connection with him whatsoever. So, so now, how do you get clients? Is it you pursuing them, or do they come to you, or is it a mix?
I think, well, it all depends because I've been lucky and I could touch some wood somewhere, but because people see the result, I've been lucky that people come to me these days. But that's what's like a lot of work behind. Like, it's not me sitting around and waiting for those clients. And even then, I always pitch for different clients as well. But I've been, especially, like, I got, like, this year has been a big boost for me in the States.
Oh, okay. How so?
Yeah. It's been really good because I've been doing, like, getting, like, a lot of big interviews in the States. Like, crazy good coverage. But
like this show, like this podcast.
Exactly. But it's been good. So shout out to everybody that has been supporting. And my talents in the States are just amazing people too. So
how does...
in Canada too.
Yeah, we can't forget that.
I'm going to diss my Canadian people, but yeah.
I won't let you do that. I've had some really awesome Canadian people on here, so I won't let you do that.
I love my Canadian time.
So what is a typical day or week for you?
You know what? There's not any typical. And it's funny because I actually said that to another interview this week, how one of the reasons why I love what I do is that you can't say you have a typical week or day, or there's no typical schedule.
Okay.
Because it's always different day by day. You can't be like, oh, well, the only thing that's similar is that I go to the gym pretty much every day, and I wake up and I eat. But and I'm saying this, and if my trainer listens to this, he full on know that since I've been traveling in the past 2 weeks, I haven't done that. Yeah. But past that, but in all fairness, and everyone knows this, I go to the gym pretty much every day except like 1 day a week. So, man. But yeah, except that. And the gym is pretty much the only thing that keeps me sane sometimes.
You know, I can understand that because in doing some of these interviews, and I was able to actually interview one other person in PR, and between the two, talking to the two of you, your schedule's got to be crazy. I can only imagine.
And that goes back to like the gray line and the people that don't understand the industry, or do. But I'll talk for myself, but I know a lot of people like that too. It's 24/7 because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like it might be 2 in the morning, but you have to turn something around because there's a crisis somewhere. And that goes back to the reason why I love what I do. It's because any day, like not one day will be the same.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, of course, you'll be in front of your laptop and doing emails or your phone or doing interviews or this and this and this, but there's not one day that's going to be the same because you never really pitch the same story. Especially if you have a couple of clients. You won't talk to the same journalist every day.
Okay.
Unless you really need to speak to that person.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's just like the different things that I do all the time that makes it exciting. And sometimes we all have a moment that we are tired of it, but I would never quit. That's my point. Like, I love what I do.
Well, you mentioned crises, and I want to throw a hypothetical situation at you. It'll be hypothetical to you, but it actually happened here during the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh.
So one of the biggest players, who's now a free agent, but he was the biggest player for the Nationals, Bryce Harper. He plays outfield for the Nationals. He's from Las Vegas. During the Stanley Cup Finals with the Washington Nationals versus the Las Vegas Golden Knights, Bryce Harper wore a Golden Knights jersey to one of the games that he attended, and he caught unreal amounts of flack in the DC area for that, because the expectation is, you play for a Washington team, you support all the Washington teams. How would a publicist handle something like that?
In all fairness, I get the Washington connection, but it's not like he plays for the Capitals.
Right.
And I mean, you're allowed to be a fan of another city.
So would you have had him say anything, or just kind of ride it out and just let it die down on its own? I would wait to die down a little bit. Okay.
And not post any statement anywhere, but then I would just be like, I apologize if I offended some people, but at the end of the day, he's a human being. He's not obligated to cheer for the Capitals.
Yeah. All right. See, that I like that answer, because that was the approach that I kind of figured, knowing he's going to cheer for his home team.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he doesn't need to cheer for whichever team. He's allowed to cheer for whoever. Exactly. But again, that goes back to what I was saying, though, about the social media.
Yeah.
Because people think that they're allowed to judge people even though they are totally in their own like vibe of doing their own thing.
Exactly. He's allowed to have his own likes and dislikes. He doesn't have to like every team from in the metropolitan area for the team he plays with. So, all right.
No, exactly.
Excellent. All right. I like.
And especially that goes back to something like, yeah. Well, that's the thing, and it's funny because 2 weeks ago when I was in New York, I was on a panel with the editor of Essence magazine, and one of the editors, and another journalist from MTV, and it was like talking about entertainment news and stuff, but also about social media and about how kids should have a social media 101. Not just that though, but communication 101 to just go back to basic of what's communication.
Okay. Yeah.
It just goes back to what you were saying about him wearing the jersey.
Yeah. And, maybe, I don't know. I'm not a PR expert, so. But now, so with some of your clients, do you notice, is there any difference between your clients that are more popular in Canada as opposed to the ones in America? Is there a difference in how you market Canadian-based clients to U.S.-based clients?
Well, the market is different. You guys have a star system, and Canada doesn't really have a star system. That being said, Quebec does with their Quebec talent. The way of talking to journalists here and in the States is different.
Okay.
Not just in the States in general, but by city. Like you wouldn't talk to someone in New York the same way as you talk to someone in LA. It's all about it's all like, at the end of the day, it's all like but a mind game, I guess.
Okay.
And it's just like about how to speak to different people, but you can't pitch. What I keep saying is that you can't pitch the same pitch from a U.S. client to a Canadian media or to a U.S. U.S. needs to be a little bit more sensational.
Yeah. I won't disagree.
Real. But in Canada, you don't have to be as much, and especially, and not only that, but if you're a U.S. person and you're coming to Canada, you always have an advantage and if you're a talent, you always have a little advantage on the Canadian people.
Okay.
That's just how it is.
Okay. Have you ever turned a client down or refused to work with anybody?
See, here's the thing. Like, whoever works with me needs to have like the same kind of mentality, and I need to really believe in them.
Okay.
If you're not on the same page as me or the mentality of how I work, and I'll feel it, and again, touching wood somewhere, it's one of those things that I've been lucky enough that whoever I've been not attracted to, but like the chemistry.
Yeah.
Between me and my clients, brands or talents or athletes or whatnot. It's always been this good chemistry that everyone at the end of the day on Team Karyzma, everyone supports each other. So people will follow each other on social media and like everyone's post and make sure we attend events together as much as possible, because obviously I'm not in LA and I have a couple of talents in LA, but also same thing for Canada. Like in Toronto, my talents tend to go to events all together and take pictures and social media together. So basically, it just needs to be like this family vibe, I guess. And again, like it needs to be in my value.
So
if not, then
would that be one of the benefits of somebody going with Karyzma over a larger PR firm, the more of a family feel that you guys have?
Well, you know what? It all depends on the people. Because if you like the whole family vibe, the whole like it's a crew, it's like more personal vibe, and the work gets done, and there's coverage that goes out and whatnot, nonstop, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just for a couple of my clients, Felicia George, as an example, who's like the bobsleigh bronze medal winner for Canada. We got tons of coverage for her this year alone. Caldwell, same thing. London Brown from HBO Ballers, Reggie.
Yeah.
We started working together back in July, and we've done since then. He's grown so much, and the cool thing is that I'm saying that out of those three, but I have a couple other examples. But what I like is that on top of me getting coverage for them, they grow out of it, but I grow as well.
Oh, good.
So that's like really important for me too.
So,
like Keith Carlos, Broderick, and London all give me the opportunity this year to get crazy coverage, like in the big magazine in the States. And at the beginning of the year, I didn't have all those really good contact in the magazine. And now I do. And now, like, I speak to them, I get coverage and everything on not a daily basis because I don't need it, but, you know.
Yeah. So
because of them, I grow a lot. So that's what I like. Like, I just like when everyone grows out of it, basically.
So most of your clients are creative types, musicians, actors, athletes. Have you ever had a client from an industry that you didn't really expect? Some type of, I don't know, somebody from industry or a politician or something like that?
Again, that goes back to what I was saying about like how I like challenge and I like when they are not the same. Because see, here's the thing, because I always see the bigger picture.
Okay.
So as much as a chef, for example, might not always be my number one go-to as a client.
Right.
I'll still take him on because I still have the contact for it, but I see a bigger picture. If one of my other talents like cooking, then there could be like a cooking interview that they could combine together. Like an athlete with a boxing studio, then we could do something interesting for a piece of coverage, which will benefit both. So I always try to find mix and match. And even like real estate people I have like technology people now, but I just don't limit myself unless it's something that I really don't see a fit, basically.
Have you ever been starstruck by any of your own clients?
No, and the reason why is because I started young. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some of my talents that, like, for example, like, my more, like, 98 degrees not 98 degrees, I don't technically work with them, but I work with Jeff. Like, I worked with Amber Rose, I worked with Will Smith.
Oh, wow.
Terrell Owens I've done something with. I tend to not get starstruck because I treat those people like normal people.
Okay.
And we all have our highs and lows.
Right.
And you need to, and I guess that's one of the big things when you do PR, you need to level it up and bring it back to reality as much as possible. Because, yeah, they could be at the top. And Will Smith is like a prime example. He's just simply amazing. And because of Will Smith and his people, when they came to Montreal and I took care of them during Fashion Week a couple of years ago, because of his people, that's how they introduced me to Amber Rose.
Oh, okay.
Because of his people, I went to an event at Neil's house during the Grammys 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just, 4 years ago. Anyways, but that's because of him. Well, that party that I met Tweet from Next, the music group, and that I met Terrell Owens.
Man.
So that's something like, I think it's just like when you have a good aura or something, it's just going to bring the right people.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I don't. I tend to just act normal and make sure whoever I work with acts the same way.
Now, one of the last things that I wanted to ask you was a little bit more about what you do. You're what's called a full service PR. You say what does that actually mean for someone who might not, like me, I guess, who doesn't know all the ins and outs?
Well, we pretty much babysit. We also work. We do everything, and we're miracle workers. No, but in reality, I mean, all of those three are real. But what we do is we make sure that we get positive coverage about our brands, our clients, and we also make sure that we write press releases, we bring talent to events. I organize events too.
Okay.
I do gifting. I do pretty much literally everything.
It sounds like it.
There's not really, the only thing I don't really do is pretty much like graphic design type of things or creating invites. But then again, I have a friend that always helps me and does it. So.
Okay.
And I do translation too, just because I have to, because it's in between the French market and English. So.
Right. What's one of the weirdest experiences you've had in PR? Something maybe behind the scenes that was weird, some kind of unusual situation that may have happened that you can share with us?
There's always going to be a couple of weird ones, but
and you don't have to give names. You can just say you had a client.
I'll say. Well, that particular year during the NBA All-Star, I was working on a certain event with a certain artist, and nobody was. Again, it goes back to communication 101, though. And I almost quit PR after that, which I would have not done, but I was at that point. So that particular client, they kept, the management threw me under the bus with a journalist saying that, saying a couple of things. Anyways, bottom line is, it became a really weird and messy situation.
Okay.
That I'm not going to go into details. But it's actually funny because I ended up going to that artist concert in LA before leaving LA earlier this week.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
So, which is cool. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not, I don't think it's the artist himself, because me and him never actually spoke. It was the management that, it was just misorganized and people didn't know what they were doing, basically. Because they didn't tell me that they had another PR person for an event. For 2 other events, they had 2 other different PR people.
Oh, jeez.
So it became like this really big, messy, nonsense situation.
So, communication 101.
Well, that's it. And quite frankly, it would save so many problems, not just in PR, but in general. Just talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Takes 1 second then. Instead of jumping to conclusion.
I'm really thrilled to have had you on. And if I can ever get to the point where I can get some PR, I'll definitely be contacting you. I got to figure out how to get more people listening to this podcast. So one of these days, I'm hoping I can actually, work with you a little bit more than just requesting, interviews from you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well,
I'm always open to good advice too. So, well, actually, I did that in my Uber ride, one of my Uber rides in LA last week. This kid was is in the music industry or is getting a little bit more involved in the music industry. And we had this long talk and I'm like, hey, if you need advice or anything, just let me know. And that's one thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not doing it all the time, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? If you need help, I'm here.
Now, how can people follow your agency and see what your clients are up to, who your clients are, first of all?
Yeah.
And see.
Well, my website, we're relaunching the website, so it's going to be launched on January 10th.
Perfect.
So that's that, and it's www.karyzmaagency.com, so double A's.
Okay.
If not, they could follow me at Karyzma Agency on Instagram. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much everywhere. Even if you type my name, you'll find me somewhere.
Oh, fantastic. Well, do you have maybe a movie from a client or something, a TV show coming out that you want people to know about?
Well, mine is my website. All my clients are like actively on shows and stuff. So you guys, if you watch HBO Ballers with Dwayne The Rock, two of my clients are on it. So I have London Brown, who's Reggie on the show, and I have Carl McDowell, who's TTD on the show.
Love those guys.
Who's like the best friend of John David Washington. And then I also have Eric Lopez, who's on, it's now the last season of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. You guys could turn in and watch that. And then on my Canadian side of kids, I have Carl Wolf, who's an amazing international singer that he's been working with me for like the past 10 years.
Oh, wow. That says a lot.
Oh, well, and the thing too is like, he's like my big brother, even though we're pretty much the same age. We're like this nagging, like sister, brother relationship now. No, but it's like family, and he's from Montreal. So it's like we're friends too. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Well,
yeah.
Karine, thank you so much for coming on and spending some time with me tonight. It was really eye-opening to learn a lot about PR and what you have to go through to help people stay in the public eye. It's fascinating.
Exactly. No, for sure. And it's funny because I had this talk with like another PR girl in LA, and we were joking about how we should do a TV show.
Hey,
the behind the scene of PR, but as a documentary, not reality show.
That, you know what? That sounds really interesting. I mean, from just our short little talk here, I'm really intrigued. I would love to follow you around for a couple of days just to see what goes on and all the.
That's what I'm saying, because people don't see the behind the scenes, and they see us event partying, or they see us like they just think that we're just answering emails and stuff. But there's so much more to it.
Well, you've just shown a little tiny light on it on this show, and it's amazing. So thank you so much for coming on with me. I really do appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's all my pleasure.